My friends, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk all things Tesla. I said on Twitter, which if you haven't done so already, please follow me on Twitter or X or whatever you would like to call it, Colin_Gladman. This is going to be always where I post like different charts and ideas. I'm going to try to be a little bit more regular on YouTube basis, but between Twitter and my Discord, those keep me pretty busy. But I told everybody, throw out 200 likes, we'll do an all things Tesla video. So here we are. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for your time. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And other than that, we're going to kind of look at Tesla's macro picture, and we'll look a little bit micro. I'm going to give you kind of some key levels that I personally am going to be watching for heading into these next couple of weeks. Remember, the market is going to be closed tomorrow, which is going to be Monday, February the 19th. So market closed tomorrow. We're going to be on a short week. Nothing really crazy going on this week other than we do have NVIDIA earnings this week, which is going to play a huge role. And we also have the FOMC minutes being released on Wednesday, which is it'll definitely create, it's not going to be typically a ton of new information there, but I wouldn't be surprised for it to create some intraday volatility. So you guys know the deal. Nothing in this video is giving you financial advice. It's just to, help you make great decisions for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. So we're at some really crucial key levels here on Tesla right now, going all the way back to December of 2020. You can clearly see here that Tesla has always kind of traded heavily around this kind of 180 to 200 level. I've already been seeing, and I've had some people ask me about, Colin, is, Tesla in a massive head and shoulders, and, this is kind of what they're sending me. My personal opinion is no. I think Tesla already kind of played out its head and shoulders from back over in here. Whoops. From back over in here. This head and shoulders, and remember, this is the bear market time when Elon was selling his shares. Pretty much played out its measured move, and now I think Tesla overall is in a recovery process. Now, to look at where we going from here. So obviously we want to see Tesla keep these key levels in here. I personally believe that Tesla over here, this is when it squeezed last May, June, created this nice, little bull flag back over. Dude, why is that messing up? We'll just get another trend line. Created this nice bull flag, then pushed up. Now I think it's still in a somewhat a bull flag / broadening descending wedge. Just for a quick visual, what that looks like, you essentially have two trend lines that are kind of slowly widening out. Does a normal corrective pattern, and then you get a breakout to the upside. So if you look at that, then you kind of look at Tesla's shape right here, especially from its all-time high trend line. This is overall what I think Tesla is doing in an A, B, C, D, E correction. Now we'd be looking for a push topside. But like anything else in the stock market, nothing's going to go in a straight line. So we've got to look at, okay, what are some potential levels that we're looking at? We're also at a really key level from a Fibonacci standpoint. I'm going to run an inverse fib from Tesla's all-time high to the low that it found back in the end of 2022. And this area right here at this 205 level is going to be the 0.5 fib. And so you can see running across just how important this 205 level is. Honestly, above that 205 level, Tesla's in more bullish territory. Below it, it's going to be in more bearish territory. So 205 is a very key level. Also coincides with the gap, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Above this 0.5, then Tesla easily has a whole lot of room to move up towards that 240 area. But really overall, eventually we want to see this all-time high trend line. We really want to see it break, probably come back, have a retest, and then continue upward movement. That's when Tesla's really going to be overall in bullish territory again. Right now, it is in more of a consolidation pattern, if you will. So that's going to be kind of the first real big, macro look that you want to have is right around that 205. I had this PWH, stands for previous week's high. I had that marked out going into this week. Tesla did a really good job of closing above it. Now I would be looking for a retest no matter what, this large move down that we had on Tesla post earnings, that's going to be really what you want to see hold overall. So, kind of that 180 area, that's going to be the biggest area that we want to see Tesla hold going forward. Start getting below that, going to get pretty bearish pretty quickly. So, if we get down here into the daily, and I'm even going to go a little bit more micro than that, we'll actually get down here to the hourly. Tesla to me right now, which I originally posted on Twitter, I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, but Tesla's forming a real nice inverse head and shoulders, which, to give you another quick little visual, essentially you have a strong move down, then you have your left shoulder, your head makes the lower low, and then on the right shoulder you make a higher low at that point in time. Then you get your breakout, then you get your pullback, and then of course you want to see continued upside. So Tesla, as of right now, does have its breakout of the inverse head and shoulder neckline. And I mean, realistically, you could say, it's pretty much all in this area. So this would have been Tesla's supply area, essentially 192 to 196 is going to be the neckline area overall. Just like I always teach to my Discord, don't ever take any type of trend line as just like, some steel bar or anything like that. Think of it more of like a zone to keep an eye on. Think of your trend lines as kind of like rubber bands. You're always going to have a little bit of movement in and out of those. But overall, you want to see those areas act as support. So right now, in a perfect world, what we'd be looking for on Tesla is going to be some type of pullback towards the 196 to 192. Really, for me, it's 190, 150 is going to be the overall areas that I'm going to be looking for. Anything like that happens, so we get a pullback to it around here, start seeing a good reaction and go. Pull back down here. Like I said, all the way as low for me is about 190, 150, and we can still see that move out. Those are going to be the key areas of support that I am going to be looking for. Tesla on Friday of this past week overall held up much stronger than the overall market did. This is kind of what I'm going to be watching right here, is sort of this little bullish pennant. In a perfect world, Tesla might consolidate and just kind of continue to push out right here. Obviously, we'd be watching what pre-market is going to be look like. My biggest problem here, honestly, guys, is I'm a little bit more bearish on the overall market while I think Tesla looks really good. Now, Tesla, if you've ever traded it before, owned it before, anything like that, it does not have to have the overall market to see really good moves. In fact, it can actually do the exact opposite, right? Into December, beginning of January, overall market just keeps ripping up. Tesla keeps coming down. So it wouldn't surprise me at all for Tesla to run inverse here in any way, shape, or form. So keep your eye on kind of this bullish pennant. And the most bullish thing that it's going to do is it's going to move out of this bullish pennant right here. If it does pull back with the rest of the market, then what we'd be looking for, like I said, is kind of right around these 196 touches, maybe all the way down to 190, 150. Let's actually take a look at this from a fib standpoint. So I mean, realistically, all the way down to the 0.618 of 189.90, call it 190, anything around in there, I'm overall going to stay bullish on. And just like I always teach my Discord, the market is going to do whatever sucks the most money out of people, right? So if you do start to see a pullback, this is going to be the obvious area that everybody's watching, kind of around 196. So be careful about that liquidity sweep and pull that comes all the way down to 190, and that's going to get everybody bearish. So there's going to be a lot of people in calls up in here. Then that breakdown from here would start to come down. People would start to get pretty bearish at this point in time. If we start breaking some of these key levels, then that's what's going to happen. People are going to load up on puts at that point in time. So everybody gets pushed out of their calls. A bunch of people enter into puts. Then the actual move starts to happen and it starts to come out like this. So don't be surprised if you see something like that. Always, I always teach my Discord, the market is going to try to screw the most people, right? So that's how I always approach it. I go, what move right here would mess with the most people? What's the most money, or what's the way that market makers can make the most money in this situation? Ideally, that's going to be what happens. And it's going to happen more times often than not. Now, sometimes you'll just get a beautiful move like this bullish pennant. It's going to play out. Just get a little bit more, get a little bit more consolidation in here. You get a breakout, you get a retest of that trend line, and you just keep right on moving. You absolutely will see that sometimes, but that's not always going to be the case. So a couple different fibs that I would watch for is going to be from the low of the head to essentially right where we're at right now. That the 0.5 here and that 0.618 that I just did from the bottom of the right shoulder are both pretty much sitting right around that 188 to 189. So that would be, so long as we stay above that overall, I'm going to remain bullish. For this inverse head and shoulder to continue to play out. So some price targets that we could potentially look for right here is there's obviously the gap fill, which takes us up to about 208. But let's say if we come back down to about 196, I'd be looking for Tesla to move up towards overall that 219 area. Me personally, I really kind of think the highest move here is going to be right around 215 before we catch a pullback. But that would be one way to measure it. Another way is, right in here. Let's go to that 191.50 that I talked about. See, that takes us to about 213.76. That's more than likely what I think that we're going to do. So long as we catch a pullback out of here, if it's a very weak, low volume style pullback, you start. So what you'd be looking for is, even if, right out the gate on Tuesday, because remember markets closed on Monday, right out the gate on Tuesday, Tesla catches a hard sell-off with the market. If it then kind of starts slowly rounding out and then start building a base up in here, that's going to be a great risk to reward opportunity to go long and catch the rest of this move. I've seen a lot of bullish sentiment on Twitter, just talking about how, Tesla's up here in the air, it can easily, continue to push up. And it can. I just think, the market was definitely giving me a lot of bearish signals. Real quick, I'll just, kind of show you. Oh, sorry. That was what I did for my weekly chat with the Discord. But SPY is overall starting to make some lower highs. Typically now I would like to see a pullback towards a lower low. Then we'd probably push up again like you just saw. In a perfect world, I would love for it to kind of create some type of bull flag up here, pulling back towards around the 50-day moving average. On QQQ, you have increased volume on a bearish engulfing candle. You had its high on Monday, then the gap down on CPI. Then it kind of slowly creeped up on some low volume, low spreads. You got a bearish engulfing candle closing below the 9. So I do think QQQ is probably going to come down and at least test its 21-day moving average right around 426. But overall, for me, overall, I can stay a little bit more bullish on QQQ so long as it's holding 430. Below 430, I'm going to get a little bit more bearish at that point in time. IWM overall held up the strongest. Those small mid caps did print a higher volume inside bar, bearish Harami candle. So another pullback towards around that 190 level. But so long as IWM overall stays above kind of the 192 level, going to stay relatively bullish on that. So now, if we do continue to push up out of this inverse head and shoulder pattern that we have here, let me go to the daily. So what I do like about the daily here is on its 921. So on Friday, Tesla basically pushed down and then showed a lot of buyers in support on that 21-day EMA. So what I'm looking for is all this to essentially just continue to curl up, and we're going to get a 921 cross up on the daily. What that just means is anytime your lower time frame EMAs cross above your higher time frame EMAs, it's going to be bullish overall. So see, like last time, Tesla got a 921 cross up. It ran essentially from 225 all the way up to 265. So you can just kind of go back. These are these little blue crosses. Anytime you get a cross up, it's typically good, at least in the short term. Anytime you get a cross down, typically bad. So what you do want to see is we do want to see some continuation. Overall, Tesla had an incredibly bullish Thursday. Marubozu straight up candle, really no wicks on it, pretty much showing buying pressure. And then you could argue that this was the neckline test on Friday. So that pullback towards the 21 EMA. I personally would like to see, something between 196 to 191 to, like I said, overall really get bullish on it. Now, if we look at it from some price targets here, so from its high in December, if we take a fib back over in here, once again, that 0.5 lines up with that 215. I personally think, and what I would like to see, and what I laid out in my Discord, I did a really long video on Tesla, basically the macro look of what it could do all year, and so far it's played out to a T. I posted a little bit of that video where I called the bottom right here at 175 to 176. Now I think it's going to push up towards around 215 or so. Then we're probably going to catch a good pullback at that point in time, back towards at least the 200 range. So that 0.5 target. Also, we extend this fib out to our overall consolidation area. Then the 382 right here, also right around that 214, 215 area. So I think most likely overall over the next, really week to, 2 weeks at most, we don't have to have help from the overall market, but it certainly would be nice. I think even if the overall market just kind of consolidates up in here, I still think we can get good solid movement on Tesla. I think it's a stock that's been very beaten down. I think it wants up. I think there's clear buyers stepping in here. So like I said, overall, I'm looking for that push towards the 215 area. Now, what will we be looking at, from a potential downside target? Well, if, this was overall a short covering rally, which I don't personally believe that it was, but if we do start breaking below this key level of, like I said, that 190, 150, then overall I'm going to start to get pretty bearish on Tesla. At that point in time, the best bull case is going to be coming down here, some type of double bottoming effect, and then getting a push up at that point in time. Overall, so long as that 175 level holds, that's still going to be a good thing. I did, back over in here, when this was rolling over and starting to form this, I did want a test lower of the 180. Fortunately, didn't get it. And we didn't really come down here and actually test the trend line. So if this trend line, right here, I've got it locked. We'll just lock it, extend it out a little bit. So if we do, start to roll over, then we could be looking at coming down to like 164, 165, which I also made a case for that in the video that I made for my Discord. So that would be if this is kind of a fake breakout, if the overall market does get really weak, which this upcoming week is the opportunity for that. If we get through this week without really any downside, then we're going to be getting into the March OPEX time where positive flows are going to be coming back into the market, and it's going to be big ones because anytime you have those quarterly options expirations. So what an OPEX is, guys, is it's going to be once a month. There's always a time where options, it's the biggest options expiration date, because if you buy things like options that are 6 months out or a year out, you're only going to have days. You're only going to be able to buy a certain Friday of each month. And so when you get to those way on down the road, those always have way more contracts. So there's way more volatility involved. There's way more contracts, usually triple to quadruple amount of contracts during those weeks. So that's why those weeks can be a little bit more volatile. Then you throw it in when they're quarterly ones. So like the March one and the June one, so on and so forth, they're even that much bigger. So it's essentially, we are entering a window of weakness here, which that is, follow Chim on Twitter. He talks a lot about it, but we are entering in kind of a window of weakness right now where those positive flows are not in the market and helping. So it's essentially, if bears don't step in this week, and time is not a bear's friend, bears don't step in this week, then the markets are going to continue to push up at that point in time. So like I said, I would be way more bullish on Tesla right here to push all the way up to that 215 and maybe even then some if I wasn't a little bit more bearish on the market. But at the end of the day, I don't trade my feelings. I trade the price action and what's going on in front of me. So these are going to be kind of the key levels that I'm looking for. So let's review everything and then we'll kind of wrap it up. So what I would like to see from Tesla, the most bullish thing that we can see, is obviously just, a move out of here. And let me go back to, so those of you that are charting, and let me kind of clean this up a little bit here so it's just easier for you guys to see. So if you're charting at home, overall, this is going to be the pennant that I'm going to be watching pretty closely on Tesla. From a bullish standpoint, like I said, you'd want to see some type of consolidation in here. If you do catch a breakout, once you get some type of retest in here, and then start to get a real move, overall, that's going to be the most bullish thing that you can see. The reverse is true. If you do start to get a breakout, but then it starts to pull back down, if you get a retest of that bottom trend line, then you're going to start to get one of those actions. And then that's when we're going to be looking for, like I said, that kind of 196 level or the 191.50. So either 196.50 or 191.50. Those are going to be the two areas that I'm looking for to show strong support to go long on Tesla, potentially get into some call contracts at that point in time. Right now, I have 0 positions open other than all the shares that I own of Tesla. So I'm going to be looking for strength at 196.50 or 191.50. Of course, if you start getting on top of Friday's highs of essentially, let's see here, what was the actual high? 203.17. If you start getting on top of that 203.17, then Tesla might just keep moving right out of there. Now, like I said, honestly, that's obviously the most bullish thing, right? The most bullish thing is always just a stock to keep going up. But what you'd really like to see is you'd really like to see some type of confirmation. So think of it like this. Some type of confirmation in this zone right in here for price to come down, find buyers, come down in here, maybe trade a little bit, find buyers, and then go. That's the overall most solid structure that you could see out of this move, okay? If start losing these, then like I said, what was it? What was that 618? I really don't even want to see this deep of a pullback if I'm being honest. But yeah, so essentially 190 is kind of that line in the sand of like, we got to get above this. If Tesla, what was it on the daily? Let's see here. It's 921. Let's again clean some of this up. Yeah, see, like the 9's going to be coming through in here. So even if you lose this, you don't want to lose the 9 now that we've finally recovered it. So even if it does lose the 21, yeah, coming in here, and like I said, what would be perfect is some type of morning push down, and then by the end of the day, you create some type of hammer candle out of here. But that overall just kind of rounding out and going. So just be smart. If you do jump into any type of contracts or anything like that, make sure you got a good risk to reward trade. But if I was looking at this like this, let's say even if I entered in, I want to say 190, and I was playing up to about 215 or so. Yeah, that's still a 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So this is going to be a great, assuming you kind of entered in, like I said, right here, right in the middle of this zone. And then, like I said, anything below 190, not going to be really liking at that point in time. There's some argument for 187, but I really don't want to see any type of pullback. So that far. Like I said, perfect world, Tuesday, maybe ugly kind of market day, get a little bit of pullback first part of the day in Tesla, start trading around in here, start to see some life, start to curl back up, and then like I said, you just kind of get that J pattern out of here, get a retest of that inverse head and shoulders. So hope this video was helpful to you. Please once again follow me on Twitter, Colin_Glabin. It's the easiest way to always reach out, ask questions, shoot me a DM. And then on typically Thursdays of each week, that's when I open up any spots on my Discord if there are any. But like I said, please like and subscribe to the video, leave a comment, share it with your buddies, all that good stuff. So much love. Have a great week of trading. Make great decisions for yourself and your family and your portfolio. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.